This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing on this last week of October?
I'm doing great, Tom. My emotions are totally in check about this election. I'm not freaking out about
Nothing
anything.
to worry about.
Yeah, I don't have a constant, just like pit of dread.
Whoever wins, everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, and I firmly believe that. So everything's great. It's nice weather.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Let's focus on the positive.
Nice weather for you, maybe.
You don't like...
I don't like... I don't like this. I was thinking about moving to an island just today.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Bikini Island, so we could bomb it?
I thought you meant like, Babes. A Bikini Island.
No, I'm talking about...
The Bikini Atoll?
Yeah, whatever we can blast you into this.
Anyway...
We went from mundane talk about the weather to me talking about killing you with an atomic bomb.
Right. Which seems like it's overkill.
Welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything. Tom?
Yes.
How are you this week?
I'm good, Tim. Thank you so much for asking.
Are you, we're recording this just a couple days before All Hallows Eve.
All right. Things are getting a little spooky.
Yeah, and this is a spooky episode, but I have some non-spooky business, up top.
Oh, all right. I'll allow it.
This might have been the weirdest thing that happened to me this week.
It sounds like it might be spooky.
It's not spooky in the least. So I work at an office, Tom, the dog food factory headquarters, right?
Right.
And we hired. Are you familiar with TaskRabbit?
Yeah. You can that's where you can just hire somebody to do pretty much anything, right?
What do they call
anything that doesn't require, you can hire handymen, right?
Yeah,
or you can be like, hey, I just need somebody to go to the store for me.
Yeah, it's not the sharing economy, but it's like sharing
the
economy.
Gig economy.
Yeah, it's like we're not gonna pay anybody a living wage,
right? Yeah,
and you benefit. You don't have to hang your own pictures.
Right.
So we hired a TaskRabbit, and it was a Friday, mid-afternoon, 2 p.m.
Okay.
But then we didn't need the task done anymore.
Okay.
So we canceled the TaskRabbit. And when you cancel the day of, they're like, hey, you still got to pay this guy for an hour of his time, which is fair and good.
Right, because they've planned for it.
Right. So 2 p.m. comes, TaskRabbit shows up. He's a human man. He's not an actual rabbit.
Okay.
He shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm here to do the thing.
The task.
I'm a rabbit.
I'm here about the task.
And I was like, I think they canceled that. And then we got someone on the phone. They were like, I canceled it. And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. My phone died. Mm-hmm. And this is another friggin' thing. Because I was like, oh, you don't get an email when they cancel? Yeah. He's like, I do, but my phone died. And he's like, yo, let me use your charger. And it's like, this is the one thing I really hate about the 21st century.
People using your charger?
Everybody's always trying to get juice from your charger. Put a goddamn charger in your bag. You have one. It comes with the friggin' phone. Mm-hmm. This guy pulled in a whole toolbox on wheels, a bag. He had a ton of stuff with him. It's a tiny little cord.
Yeah.
Just freaking... All right, so anyway.
I forgot to bring mine when we were in London, and then I refused because I have so many. That's why I forgot to bring one, because I had so many that
you just assumed there was one in every pair of pants?
Like that there would be one in every bag. I was just like, oh, don't... When I was going through all the things I needed to bring, I thought, well, that's the last thing I need to worry about because I got so many of them. And then because I had so many, this is a very interesting story. I refused to pay more than $5 for one, so I spent hours looking.
You were it's like we were hanging out.
Yeah.
We don't, especially in other countries, I don't know anybody.
Right.
So
I do, but they're all celebs.
Right, and they don't like to have hangers-on like me come around looking them in the eye and whatnot.
Exactly.
I do try to ask question like, "Hey, what's your mother's maiden name?" So I can hopefully hack their Gmail.
Yeah, and that's what they don't want to know.
They don't want that.
Yeah, the fappening. Remember when that happened?
Let's not.
Well, that's what they don't want, Tim, and you look like the kind of guy that would do it.
I just want a mundane look into the life of a celebrity. Like, what kind of emails do you get?
Yeah, what kind of spam do celebrities get?
Not even the spam, but like, that's the one part I wish. I wish Entourage was less bro-y and more about like what were the actual
more showy
content of the emails from like Ari to E.
Yeah.
Like when he
a lot of
wasn't yelling.
There was probably some like website you could go to, Tim, like a second screen experience where you could have gotten that.
The last thing I'm interested in, Tom, is a second. This is why I won't watch Westworld, Tom. This is a unnecessary tangent. But like, guys, people are sending me like these websites, like because people have been like, "You watching Westworld?"
I watched the show and I haven't gotten any. Nobody sent me any
friends
websites.
Friends of mine, Tom. Celebs, American celebs.
Oh, okay.
No, but they're like, "You're not watching Westworld," and it's like, I don't have time for that. And then they're like, "But look at this ancillary website that's like a puzzle in and of itself." It's like, yeah, I already told you I didn't have time to watch an hour a week.
I don't have time to solve puzzles on the internet.
So anyway, I'm talking to this TaskRabbit, and I'm like, I just wanted to make sure that he was going to get paid. That like we canceled.
You just wanted to make sure they got paid and make sure they didn't use your charger.
No, so I had him plug in his charger.
That's the thing too. Phone. When people are like, "Hey, can I use your charger?" It's like, well,
it doesn't immediately charge.
Yeah, like to even get anything you can work with, it's going to take at least 15 minutes.
Yeah. So
especially if it's completely dead, then it takes like 5 minutes before it'll even turn on.
Right. So that's what happened. Like, I just wanted to confirm that, like, we canceled correctly, so he's going to get paid. Because he did come out. So, like, he plugs in his phone, and it's completely dead. So, like, it's in that 5 minutes before he can turn. And I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. It's like, yeah, man, it happens. The only thing I'm bummed about is, like...
I was really looking forward to doing this task.
I was watching a movie, and, like, so, like, I didn't see the last hour of the movie. And I was like, oh, cool, well... And so I'm just assuming, like, well, he was watching a movie at his house or whatever. Yeah. And then he, like... Because we booked this thing days in advance, right?
Right.
So he's like...
I know where this is heading.
He's like... I was like, well, what movie was it? Just making small talk. And he's like, Inferno.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the new Dan Brown movie.
Yeah, I was like, I've heard of that.
I believe it came out Friday.
Yeah, and yesterday, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, Tom Hanks, right? The Da Vinci Code, that kind of thing. He's like, yeah, it's really good. So, like, so I assumed he bought it at a laundromat. It's a bootleg or whatever. And I was like, well, you could go back to his apartment and watch this crappy movie, and it's fine. And he's like, yeah, and the real bummer was, like, I had to leave... like only a half hour into it, and it was one of those 4DX experiences. So like it was in the chair that movie, and I was like, "Wait, you were watching a movie in a movie theater that you knew you had an appointment a half hour into this movie?" And then this poor guy, freaking his hourly rate for TaskRabbit, like that we had to pay him upon canceling, like. Barely covered the price of admission to Inferno.
I was gonna say that I'd be surprised if it even covered it. That those 4DX movies are $30 to go see.
Yeah, cheapers. Like, dude,
why did he do that?
I was like, why'd you do that? He's like, well, you know, what else are you gonna do to kill time in this city? And it's just like in New York City. Yeah. And so like he opens.
What else are you gonna do to kill time except go see a half hour of a movie?
You had a half hour to kill too. Yeah. It wasn't like, yeah, what else are you gonna do for 4 hours? Like, yeah, okay, you don't want to like,
right?
You know, have to kill that much time, but like, dude. Like, don't spend $30 to see a half hour of a crappy new Da Vinci Code movie.
He could have used that half hour to go buy himself a charger for $5.
Yeah. So and so like he's like, okay, yeah, I have it. And I was like, yeah, okay. I guess go watch the rest of that movie. He's like, yeah, now I got to buy a whole other ticket. This is why like keep your goddamn
Keep your
phone
stubs.
charged.
Oh, I thought you were going to say keep your movie stubs so you can get back in.
I think the movie was probably over by the time he got.
Yeah.
I don't know, Union Square.
So wait, and he just like went out to do his day with an uncharged phone and was like, "Well, first things first, let me go see a movie."
Yeah, evidently this guy is not good at managing his time.
Yeah, geez, it sounds like it. Running around, and especially if you're gonna do a job like be a TaskRabbit or an Uber driver or something, I assume that was like you had to have your phone charged.
Yeah, that's job.
I assume that there's like an app on his end where it's like he has to like be like, okay, I'm here, start the billing.
Yeah, it was a totally bizarre situation. So like, look.
See, you guys paid this guy probably like $40 an hour just to charge his phone.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I want to get some of that back. Like, part of canceling is that, like, I shouldn't have had to buzz him in and talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, like, that's part of the cost to me.
If you had to
right?
get paid for an hour, Tim, you should have given him some tasks to do.
That's true.
You could have been like,
you do pedicures?
clean this up and just pour some pudding out on the floor.
Just shake up like a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi and be like, open this. I'm really thirsty.
Oh, I don't want to do it, Rabbit.
You have to. I'm so thirsty. I'm paying you.
What was the task that he was hired to do?
Freaking like hanging like pictures or something.
And what? The pictures were already hung? You need to do it?
No, it's a long story, Tom.
You could have had him. You probably got some other pictures that you could have taken down and had him go hang.
Yeah. Also,
hang these
like,
back up.
Here's the thing. Like, I wanted to make sure that he got paid, but I also wanted to make sure that he got the hell out of there. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't want to make small talk, especially with the craziest man in the world. He was a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know, someone like that, someone who makes decisions like that, like.
Yeah.
Like, if I found out a presidential candidate, like, went to a half hour of a movie
when
knowing that
they knew they had something to do.
Yeah, like, if I found that out about Hillary, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm a Trump man.
Yeah, at least he's got a common sense about when to go see a movie and when not to.
Yeah.
Especially a 4DX experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that person with the nuclear codes, but I also wouldn't trust that person to hang my pictures.
Tim, enough of this.
Enough is enough.
We got to talk about the topic at hand.
Sure.
Myths and legends. There's another myths and legends.
Do you think it's wise that we used to occasionally do myths and legends once every few months?
Uh-huh.
We stopped doing it for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And now it's like, bang, every week it's going to be a myths and legends episode.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Are you afraid of dabbling in the occult?
No, I'm never really sold on anything.
What do you mean? Myths or legends?
Well, myths is such a freaking hard word to say.
It's not that hard. It
Say
sounds
it.
like myths.
Yeah, but like
Myths.
yeah, the th into the s is just like unnecessary tongue gymnastics, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't need that.
Myths and legends.
I pulled a muscle of my tongue saying the title of this episode. Oh, we didn't even get to what the
which I'm
colon-
trying
right,
to.
sorry.
Myths and legends, Poltergeists.
Poltergeists is another thing. STS is another. I
Myths, poltergeists. It's very hard. It's a lot of work for the mouth.
It's a lot of sibilance there at the end. Yeah, not a fan.
But Tim, it's October. It's a spooky time of year. We can double up on the myths
That's true.
and legends.
But let's make this promise to all of our diehard fans.
Yes.
Who are not a fan of sibilance necessarily.
Right.
There will not be another one next week.
And they're
right?
maybe a little too scared.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe
shaking
think,
in their dang boots.
I come to this show for a laugh, not to be scared shitless.
Yeah, scared out of my skin.
Yeah.
Skeleton pops out at the top. That was the skeleton jumping, and then they dance to Dance Macabre.
Yeah. So we're talking about poltergeists, Tim. What do you know about poltergeists?
All right, number one. They're ghosts.
Number one, you're wrong. I mean, you're possibly wrong. Poltergeists are poltergeists. If they were ghosts, it'd be ghosts.
Poltergeist is like a genus of a species of ghost.
No, maybe. There are theories about poltergeists.
All right.
Next misconception.
All right, we'll go. All right.
God, Tim, you are such
Number
a...
2.
You are such a sheeple.
It's just sheep. Or shurson.
You're such a shurson.
Number 2. They cause mischief.
That is true.
Number 3. People are way too scared or creeped out by poltergeists.
That is not true.
It's just in proportion to the amount of stuff that they are purported to have done.
Okay. Untrue.
Number 4, you need a quirky little psychic lady to come in.
You're thinking of the movie Poltergeist.
Yeah, exactly. Where else am I going to get? If not from Craig T. Nelson, where else would I get my poltergeist info?
You get too much of your information from Craig T. Nelson.
I get all my information from Coach Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You always say...
Who do you get yours from? Dauber?
You're
Idiot.
always like...
Jerry Van Dyke?
What are you up to this week, Tim? And you're like, I'm watching the big game. And I'll be like, it's not even football season. And you're just talking about the game of the week on a rerun of Coach.
Yeah. Well,
Which they don't
rerun
even...
or... DVD. I'm a time shifter, Tom. I'm a millennial, so I can stream
That's
it.
DVR. Tim, you dumb.
No, I own them on DVD.
Okay.
Are they still broadcast? Coach, I feel like every year the syndication things come in and they're like, all right, Cheers, okay, Seinfeld.
No, they
and then
almost...
Coach, they're just like, you know what? Check with Gail. Does anybody watch Coach?
Yeah. Are we still paying for Coach?
Yeah.
No, Tim. Coach almost came back. They made like a new pilot.
Yeah, but guess what? It didn't.
Yeah. Well, but still, there's not always a creepy old little woman.
Right. And then finally, they suck people into TVs and strangle them with a clown doll.
Sometimes the second part.
Well, then why Steven Spielberg freaking lied to me?
I don't think that was a Spielberg.
He produced
joint.
it. He executive produced it.
Oh, okay.
And many people say that he actually directed it. That, like, he was on set so much that he was, like, the shadow director, but, like, that couldn't be a Steven Spielberg movie because it was off-brand for him. Too scary.
Was he on set when they were like, put all those bones in the hole and then have somebody go in the hole? Then they were like, oh, these bones, they aren't like real bones, are they? And they were real bones.
Is
and then
that
everybody
true?
got haunted.
I mean, I know it's true that the actor that played the boy was really almost strangled by the clown.
Yeah.
And that the
little girl died.
tragically died.
Yeah. A bunch of other people mysteriously died. Not Coach. Craig T. Nelson, he was like the only one that...
Craig T. Nelson came out Teflon out of that.
Yeah.
It only made him stronger.
Yeah, but and Craig T. Nelson might have been in cahoots with that poltergeist. Might have been like, look...
Rule number 1, dealing with the poltergeist, got a deal.
Yeah, like you wanna kill some people because you're a poltergeist, and I want to show where I'm a college football coach.
Yeah.
And now I think if we can both get what we want.
Yeah. As long as you can promise me Jerry Van Dyke there once a week.
Well, Jerry Van Dyke was probably the one that introduced the poltergeist to Craig T. Nelson in the first place.
Is Jerry Van Dyke still alive?
He is, like, amazingly.
Those Van Dyke boys have the best genes.
They really do.
I wish I was a Van Dyke sometimes.
You should grow a Van Dyke mustache.
It's true.
That's about as close as you can get.
I know, sadly.
I think
you're not the first person to tell me that.
Jerry Van Dyke might not be with us anymore. He might be a poltergeist himself at this point.
Maybe.
I know for sure Dick Van Dyke's still
Dick
alive.
Van Dyke is
He's
like
94.
120 and just tap dancing his way through life.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, I'm charming still.
And he's still tripping over the ottoman.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's actually very sad.
now it's on accident. So, Poltergeist, Tim.
We've asked him, Dad, please stay away from the ottoman every time.
Who bought an ottoman? Anyway, Poltergeist, Tim. Poltergeists are, some people think they're spirits, some people don't, but they are, you're right, mischievous. And they mischievous. You can't see them. That's
right.
one of the rules. That's one of the rules
So wait.
They're not ghosts. Why they're not like ghosts.
Tom, you can't see ghosts either.
You can see ghosts, Tim, when they go, oh, and they appear like vapor.
But who has ever seen that?
Who's ever? I'll tell you what.
I don't want to hear
I've
your
seen a
mundane,
ghost.
boring ghost stories.
Oh, my ghost story is not mundane or boring, Tim.
God, it's worse than hearing people's dreams, people's freaking, and then the handkerchief
People's
was
ghost stories.
folded.
No, that's not my ghost story. So much better than that.
No, yeah, you at Dave's house and you saw an apparition.
Yeah, I saw an apparition. Tim
You were
is-
high on PCP, and we all
like
know
12 years old. It was typing on the keyboard.
it. That was AJ.
No, it wasn't AJ. It was
He was
like
trying to scare you, Tom.
AJ wasn't even there. It was a green mist.
I don't know. You've been watching too many movies. You ate too many cookies.
Let me tell.
that
I'm
day,
gonna tell
Tom.
the ghost story real quick.
No, I've heard this ghost. God damn
Hey,
it.
but maybe the people haven't heard the ghost story,
people
Tim. And
haven't
now,
heard the
right
ghost
now, they're
All
under
right, hang on to your hats, everybody.
under
'cause
their
here it
covers,
comes.
all around.
I'll get back from the
Please-
mic so I won't interrupt with my heckles and
Yeah.
jeers.
Please, if you're listening to this on your commute or you're jogging or something, please pause it and go start a campfire somewhere. Wait till night and get around the campfire because this one's about to really
Get to the point.
give you a fright. Sleeping over my friend Dave's house when I was like 11. And I was sleeping on the floor next to his bed in a sleeping bag. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know why. And I looked over, and at his computer, there was a person sitting there typing. But it was like kind of a see-through person, a ghost, some might say. And it turned, looked at me, and then just like disappeared, just kind of like faded out. And I thought, what? Like, I must be dreaming or something. But just as I thought that, I heard from above me, Dave go, "Did you just see that?" He saw it too, and I didn't even know he was awake. Because we both saw a ghost.
All right. So what did it do? Did it kill you?
No, it
it's
didn't
fine.
do anything. It was
Yeah.
just trying to get on the internet, but it didn't even know. This was like a long time ago. The internet wasn't even that great. I don't think he even had internet in his bedroom.
Yeah,
yet.
I mean, how is a dead guy
He's
going to
playing
even know
like
about
some
the internet?
DOS games or something. He was trying
DOS.
He was trying to learn programming. Let me open up QuickBooks here. Put all my expenses in. That was about the only thing.
This is a very spooky ghost story, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Anyway, so that was my ghost story.
All right, so a poltergeist is not a ghost. I think many people would disagree.
Well, many people are wrong, Tim. So one of the things that some people think poltergeists are, well, there's a few things. Some people think it's a natural phenomenon that we just don't understand yet.
Like, it doesn't have a personality.
Yeah.
It's just...
That it's like some form of energy that we don't, like magnetism. Something along those lines that we don't really get.
Can we take a step back real quick?
Okay.
Before we get to what they are? Because, like, what are the most common things that poltergeists do, right? Because they don't kill people.
No. That's actually one of the things that the movie Poltergeist got wrong. And one of the things that sets poltergeists apart from like possessions and demons and
Right.
stuff is that usually they're just mischievous, but they don't
Mischievous.
but they don't necessarily mean to cause harm. They can cause harm, but they're not out to like kill people or anything like that.
They're just
trying to, cause some. They're bored, basically. They're bored and they're trying to have fun.
But, okay.
And the way they do that,
They knock things off shelves.
they knock things over, they throw things through the air, they levitate things, and then sometimes they'll, like if you're out of the room, they'll move everything around, and then when you come back, you go, "What the heck?" So sometimes they do it where
So
you can't
why is
see
any
it.
of this scary?
Why is it scary? You wouldn't
Maybe
be-
a projectile is scary.
Yeah, Tim, you wouldn't be scared if all of a sudden your coffee cup just started levitating out of nowhere? That would scare the bejesus
I think it would
out
be
of me.
like, why do we see this as terrifying and not like a cool phenomenon? Like, because you go to the mystery spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, the ball rolls the wrong way down
Right,
the ramp
well,
and
that's
stuff. And
just
why
an optical
Yeah, but
illusion.
why are we like, oh, why aren't we like,
Because-
oh my god, oh, this is weird energy here?
Because when you go to the mystery spot, Tim, you're going to the mystery spot knowing what you're in for.
Yeah, but here's
You
the
don't
thing.
accidentally come across the mystery spot, and all of a sudden you're like, why is the ball rolling the wrong way?
Why don't they just teach us in school, hey, once in a while a cool thing happens and things will levitate. And we don't really know why.
Well, why would they teach us that in school?
So
I'm not for that either.
So we're not scared of it.
What? So you're saying
We're
just...
only scared of it because it's unfamiliar.
So
if we make it seem like mundane and routine,
So you're proposing that, like, where? Grade school, elementary school?
wherever.
That just one day they
Yeah,
go, oh, by
alongside
the
the
way,
ABCs.
sometimes things levitate and it's cool. Don't worry about it. No further questions, kids.
No, well, here's the thing. Lightning, we teach kids once in a while, freaking electricity shoots out of the sky.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hits people and kills them. But don't worry, it's just a natural phenomenon. It's cool.
Well, two things. I don't think they ever really taught us about lightning in school.
Yeah, they absolutely did,
I think
Tom.
they trusted us to learn about it on our own. And second, they can explain
Recipe for disaster.
what causes lightning. They don't go, and nobody knows why.
Well, here's the thing. If this is a real thing that happens, which I don't believe,
Lightning? Sure it does, Tim.
no, I think if a church sprung up tomorrow that was like, hey, here's our thing. We're going to start worshiping lightning as our god. I'd be like, all right, I'm on board. Like, what else just randomly shoots out of the sky and just kills us once in a while?
Well, maybe you should be like a Roman or something and worship.
No, I don't think there's like a
Zeus.
man out there throwing lightning bolts.
Oh, well, then who's throwing them, you dummy?
I think it is. It's the energy, man. The energy is God.
Wow.
I have some crystals I'd like you to buy.
I have some crystals I'd like you to hold.
Some crystals I'd like you to smoke. And you'll see it all clearly.
So,
No.
all right.
Here's what
They're
I'm
not-
saying. Here's what I'm saying. You're saying this is a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right? And we don't know, but all that really happens are things are moved, things are levitating.
Right.
People actually rarely get harmed by these things.
Sometimes people get hit in the head with a book or whatever.
Right. But what I'm saying is if this is really the case and this is provable, right? And we know this, why should that be a scary thing? If it should just be like, yeah, sometimes an elephant gets loose at the circus and stomps on a boy, right? But
Well, they don't teach that in school either.
yeah, but like they also teach you, hey, the circus is a lot of fun.
They
right?
don't teach you the circus is a lot of fun either.
Well, they are. I read that in books in school. Like, Joey goes to the circus, and it's like his dad bought him peanuts, and it's great, right? And like, sometimes somebody gets hit in the head or stomped by an elephant, and just like the way a poltergeist. A lot of fun. Things move around. And sometimes people get hit by a coffee cup that he throws. But, like, we're not teaching people to be afraid of that. Why are we afraid of one thing and not the other thing?
Because they're not going to start teaching people things that they can't prove and that they can't explain.
Then why can't we prove this yet, Tom? If it's so widespread, if you're so adamant that this exists, why haven't we been able to prove it?
A bunch of reasons, Tim.
This is also the argument we had in our climate change episode.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. I couldn't prove climate change existed to you either. First thing, Poltergeist episodes tend to be fairly short-lived. It's not a thing of the Poltergeist hung around for decades and decades. It's not a bunch of lying kids, Tim. That's what you said about climate change too.
Prove me wrong, Tom. Prove me wrong.
So it's short-lived. But the biggest thing is just that people don't report it because they're afraid that they're going to look like nuts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're rarely reported, but there have been some extremely reputable reports. So I read this book. Oh, what the hell is the name of the book now?
This is a great...
It was called like the
Great
Poltergeist.
source.
The Poltergeist Tales or something.
Nice.
But it examined a bunch of real life poltergeist cases, and they were very strange for one reason, which was these were all like the most provable poltergeist cases. And in all these cases, the way they were provable was that people called the police about poltergeists. Would you call the police about a poltergeist?
No, but like I also don't think it's a big deal if a picture falls off the wall.
Tim, it goes beyond pictures falling off walls.
I mean, because like
Hey,
even if it's like, all right, I don't even put my pictures up myself. I get a TaskRabbit to do it, so the job is done
Right.
well, right? So if a picture falls down, like
The
that's
first call you're going to make is a TaskRabbit
exactly.
demanding your money back.
Yeah, you'd be like, all right, let me just pack up my bag and leave this movie theater and head right over.
Oh, you just sat down. Now for the rest of Inferno. It's more than just pictures falling off walls, Tim. It, like I said, it's things flying across the room, things being thrown at you, you getting thrown across the room sometimes. You get, at the very least, getting thrown out of a chair all the time.
Find one person that will talk to me about getting things or
I don't
thrown
know
across
these
the
people
room.
personally, Tim. Like I said, a lot of them are very embarrassed because they don't like people like you doubting
Skeptics.
them. Yeah.
Patriots.
Patriots.
Yeah.
So a lot of these people, what was your question? Oh, why do they care? Because at the very least, it's annoying. You wouldn't be freaked out if things started flying around your home and levitating.
If you're saying that this is just an occurrence
Right.
that is natural, but we don't understand it.
Well, that's what some people think.
Okay.
But then some people
I'm
think
sorry.
they're ghosts.
Have we finished the list of the things that the
No.
poltergeists do?
No, then there's one. Yes, for the most part.
So it's basically moving objects.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Sounds sometimes like knocking and scratching.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh, I just found out about poltergeist that could text. So
Oh,
there's
Ghost
that.
Rider.
Not Ghost Rider, Tim. Poltergeist that could text, which is the most terrifying thing to me.
Yeah.
I don't like getting text messages in the first
Me
place.
neither. I'm 100% on board
Let
with
alone
that.
from a ghost I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
just block
from an
the number.
unknown number, Tim. You can't block the spirit world.
Okay. Tom, so what you're saying...
But then there's
Is-
another thing that it might be.
No. That
Okay.
that they do.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And the texting is very rare. I've only heard about it in one case.
You made me watch some video when I got here, and it was... Tom, it was like 20 minutes long, and it was all about poltergeists. And I kept talking to you to try to change the subject,
Yeah,
which is the most
instead of
boring
paying
thing
attention.
I've ever seen. And you were just
And-
like, yeah, email server, yeah, whatever. But like, I think you misunderstood the part about the texting.
No, I understood it perfectly clear, Tim. It was terrifying.
I don't know, 'cause, like I was
Poltergeist
watching, and then you
texted this
turned to
lady.
me. They were just talking about like the moving pictures, and then you turned to me about a texting poltergeist, huh? Like apropos of nothing.
No, they had just talked about the...
Your imagination ran away with.
Anyway, so besides texting, which again, I've only heard about in one case, it's mostly, you're mostly moving things around, throwing things, levitating things.
Right. Now, why is that scary?
Because it's scary, Tim. I can't believe that you think something in your home,
But if you say it happens all the time,
not all the time.
and it's not harmful for the most part,
for the most
then
part.
why are we
But I'm
afraid of
telling
it?
you this as a poltergeist expert.
that's true. That's a lovely embroidered jacket you have.
Thank you, Tim. It costs a fortune. Jeez, it took you long enough to mention it. God, I was throwing you so many hints.
What's that, satin?
Yeah, it's satin. Of course. It's a poltergeist fabric of choice. They and the thing is, it's not just one thing
You're
falling off.
worked up. I've done it.
It's not just one thing falling off the wall, Tim. It's like when it rains, it pours. Like all of a sudden, all your pictures are falling off, and all your books are
Maybe
flying
you
at you.
should check the freaking anchors in your pictures. Any TaskRabbit will tell you that.
And the books are being thrown at you.
Yeah, well, maybe that's just your astronaut father in space trying to.
No, you're
get
thinking
you-
of Interstellar.
Yeah.
And that was just the books getting pushed off the thing, which is one thing, and that is another type of poltergeist. It might be your astronaut father trying to communicate with you in the past.
Right.
Um,
That's what I choose to believe.
Well, I choose to believe that this would be the most terrifying thing I could ever imagine. Not the most terrifying, but like up there.
What about a live human man holding a knife to your throat?
Yeah, that would also be terrifying.
Well,
what about
as terrifying as a book falling off your shelf, though?
what about a knife coming out of the knife block and flying down your hallway and then being held to your throat?
When has that ever happened?
It's happened. Ask people. Tim, you gotta start asking people.
That's true. I'm not very inquisitive.
Well, and also that's if you believe that it's like a natural occurrence. If you think it's a ghost, then that's scary.
You told me it wasn't. You yelled at me when I said it was a ghost.
Because
But now you're just trying to scare me, so now you've changed your tune. Oh, Tim's afraid of ghosts, eh? Which I'm not, by the way.
For the record.
Let the record state nobody's ever been killed by a ghost.
No, because first off, that's patently false.
Show me the death certificate, Tom.
I can't, Tim. It burned. It disappeared.
Wow. I was told that poltergeists sometimes start fires, but I don't believe that.
Well, they do. So
I bet like way more space heaters start fires than poltergeists.
Yeah, and that's fine. But again,
yeah, but I'm not afraid of space heaters. I'm a little afraid of space
yeah,
heaters. I'm very
you're
afraid
terrified of
yeah.
space heaters.
Yeah.
One thing I know about you.
When we were roommates, you bought a space heater, and I was like, "Oh no, you'll never turn this off, you psycho."
It was fine.
You're the worst.
It had a tip over thing. Tim, the other thing that some people think poltergeists are is, well, let me rephrase it. A lot of poltergeist cases, the majority, involve a child or like a kid.
Right, so it's mostly lying children.
It's not mostly lying children, Tim. It's that, and a lot of times it's while the kid's going through puberty.
How did this vase break? This is an expensive vase. I don't know. It must have been some weird spirit that threw it across the room.
People see
Mom.
It. The kids, they think some of these kids have like like powers that they aren't aware of and can't necessarily control, but that they're causing these kinds of things to happen.
Right.
And again, people think it sometimes when they're going through puberty, they're going through the change. These things
Don't call it the change. It's gross. I'm gonna barf everywhere.
These things manifest themselves
as like energy.
And
since teenagers hate books,
well,
they're often
you're really focusing on throwing the books.
Because all right.
So they think. And a lot of times it happens in homes where there's like a lot of
turmoil.
Yeah. And that this is
maybe their dad, Craig T. Nelson, isn't paying attention to people.
Maybe. Yeah. And that actually it is a way of like repressed angst to be let out. So like some kids get like really into like Morrissey. Right. But then some just start throwing faces with their mind.
Right. Well, look, I'm not in the business of being freaked out by teen angst.
Oh, I would think that would scare you more.
No, I'm not afraid of teens.
You're terrified of teens.
Look, I'm afraid of being the butt of a joke in front of teens.
Right.
I want teens laughing at me. You can throw a book at me, teens. Come at me.
You don't think that would be funny to a teenager, Tim?
That'd be hilarious. But I'd have to.
What if a teen with psychic powers pantsed you and then knocked you over while you're
pantsing? You're right.
Yeah, Tim, you'd be humiliated.
Nuts. Yeah.
That's why teens shouldn't play with Ouija boards, Tim.
This is why teens should be, look, not even teens. I'm saying 10 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
No, when you're 18. 10, just put them on an island.
Well, that island, Tim, all of a sudden that's going to become full of psychic energy.
Yeah, okay. That should have been the twist in Lost.
Oh, there's the island we put all the teens on?
Yeah, and then all the weird magnetism followed them.
Yeah.
And then they grew up, and we stopped putting the teens there. Man, should write this down, Tom.
Okay. So,
Lost 2, the island of lost teens.
So they're very... they think that could also explain why these episodes are somewhat short-lived. Because
teens have short attention spans.
Teens have short lives. No, because it's when they're going through puberty that there's some kind of a brain change going on at the same time. Don't give me that look that there's some kind of a brain change happening at the same time.
Brain change.
A brain change is going on at the same time that allows them to tap into this energy field that normal saps like me and you can't.
Yeah,
on our day-to-day.
It's like they can hear high-pitched noises.
Yeah.
And they can throw electromagnetic energy at things.
Yeah, and they can pop a boner with a strong breeze when they're going through puberty, Tim. They're very...
Never use that phrase again.
What, pop a boner?
Jesus.
Tim,
What kind of show are we
look,
running
I'm just
here?
telling you that when teens go through puberty, Tim, a lot of hormones raging.
Yeah.
So it might be hormonal poltergeist. We don't know.
Okay, so it's either
And
nobody's
especially
saying
if
it's ghosts.
poltergeists are
Tom,
texting nowadays, teens.
Tom, here's the thing.
What?
I think you were too quick to belittle me before.
I think you were too quick to blame poltergeists on horny teens.
No, I think
when I'm trying to argue that's ghosts.
no, because I said that one thing I knew is that there were ghosts, and you were like, "You idiot!" But you made me watch this video where a kid got possessed and was talking like an old man who had died.
Well, that's
so. How are
different.
you telling
that might
me
be a poltergeist
Then-
working with? I mean, think about
they're in cahoots with the
Yeah,
ghosts?
or
Okay,
like what
so
ca-
I wasn't that far off when if they often work
if
with
it-
ghosts. You
or-
can't laugh at me for saying I think they're ghosts.
They don't necessarily work with ghosts. They work side by side, though, sometimes. Because sometimes what could be more stressful than a ghost happening? And then that stress is going to trigger a poltergeist.
But then they were
And
talking
then
about
all of a sudden, you just got to move. You got ghosts and poltergeists and demons.
Tom, if stress and anxiety and angst in a teen can trigger a poltergeist situation,
Yeah.
my house would have burned down a million times.
Well, you do always have those books flying off the shelves.
True.
But what I was going to say before was this book I was reading. They were talking about like the most reputable cases. And these cases, people called the police. Under what circumstances would you call the police for a poltergeist? Because what the hell are the police going to do? Come and shoot it?
That's true. Who would you call that old lady?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, there are multiple cases where people called the police and the police came and were like, holy shit, everything's flying around over here. And the police would like investigate, but then be like, well, I don't know. It seems like a poltergeist. There are multiple cases where like a dozen cops have signed affidavits like, yeah, here's the stuff I saw. Here's, things flying around, things levitating, the refrigerator lifting up.
The way that you've pronounced the words reputable and affidavit has undermined your whole argument here, Tom.
I'm just quoting the book.
The poorly written book.
Look, it's a great book. A man on the corner gave it to me.
A ranting man gave it to me.
So there are cases where multiple very reputable people have gone on the record, and then like sometimes they'll get like a local priest. Your local.
Look, I'm not basing my beliefs on energy and things on like what a local priest says.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Tim. If you got a ghost of any kind or spirit of any kind, the local priest isn't gonna know what to do with it. You gotta ring up the Vatican. They gotta send a specialist in.
And the thing is,
The
like,
local
that
priest-
local priest might be like, time to shine, baby.
Right,
Like now I'm gonna be on the world stage. Somebody call 2020.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
suddenly you're televising an exorcism,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, wait, what?
Or that local priest is gonna be like, I'll come check it out, but I have a baptism at 2. And you're like, a baptism? I got Satan himself in my home, possibly.
Now, is it Satan? No, it's the devil.
I'm just saying, Tim, anything's possible.
So why did you yell at me
I'm just
when I
trying
said
to
that
get-
I thought it might be a ghost?
Because I'm trying to get you not to be so goddamn narrow-minded about these things, Tim. Be a little open-minded.
True, I really should broaden my horizons a little bit when it comes to the potential.
When it comes to the
cause
paranormal.
of- yeah. All right, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
How bad would it have to get for you to like call up a paranormal investigator? Now I know. Okay, Tom.
Okay. Would I be cold calling, or would this be a paranormal investigator I already know? I'm already acquainted with.
No, okay. So you're a guy
Mm-hmm.
who is predisposed to believe that something is paranormal, or open-minded to the fact that there are
Yes.
paranormal activities responsible for events that others might just see as mundane.
Not as mundane, but that
Or as-
there might be things we don't understand.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you feel about every paranormal? Because you're also a guy that hates charlatans.
Yeah.
And
It's a tough spot for
may
me
I
to
say
be in.
bullshit artists?
Yeah.
And basically,
You can say bullshit, Tim. I said Papa Boner before.
no, we all remember. You also hate people that like are at all out of the ordinary. Like you're open-minded about the
Yeah,
paranormal.
Just give me a nice, normal paranormal investigator.
Very close-minded about people in general.
Uh-huh.
Check out this weirdo. It's
Yeah.
just like,
And you're like, and you're always telling me, Tom, that's just a paranormal investigator. Leave him alone. That's his job.
have you ever
He has
seen?
to wear all those crystals
Have you
and
ever?
rings.
Have you ever seen a paranormal investigator on television that you're like, I'd invite that person into my home?
Yeah. Or like, oh, I'd strike up a conversation with that person at a party.
Yeah, I'd willingly tolerate being in the same room as this person.
No. But as a kid, like, I saw being a paranormal investigator as like a very viable.
Well, the Ghostbusters. Let's not.
Well, yeah.
Understate the effect that the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I wanted to be a paranormal investigator, the thing that I thought was bullshit about like the real world ones was that not nearly enough gadgets.
Right.
Guys, get some more gadgets to take care of the ghosts. I'm going to get some more ghost gadgets.
So, all right. So,
I don't want those in my house. They'll scare the hell out of me. What am I saying?
ghost gadgets? Because
Yeah.
they probably attract ghosts.
Oh, yeah. Or, I mean, if ghosts want to be known.
I don't even know why we're talking about ghosts in the Poltergeist episode, Tom.
Well, I'm just saying paranormal gadgets, paranormal paraphernalia. Anyway, what were you gonna ask me about? Oh, about what would it take for me to get a paranormal?
Well,
investigator?
here's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You know you can't call the cops.
yeah.
Would you call, like, let's say...
Because of all the warrants.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, you know, your home is so dangerously... You
Yeah.
have... Like, the cops would
A
be
lot
like...
of violations.
Look, I'm not a building inspector, but 45 space heaters in
I
one
get
small
chilly.
New York City apartment. This is a tinder box.
Yeah.
This is...
it's called redundancy, copper. You know, beat it.
You call them copper. You call them the fuzz. You
Yeah.
call them pigs to their face. I don't condone that kind of behavior, Tom. And you're always running from them.
Mm-hmm.
So you know you can't call the cops,
Right.
What do? Do you? Is there ever a situation where you're like, crap, I gotta do this.
I gotta call the Ghostbusters.
Like I know you'll probably move into it. You'll be like, I'll move into a different apartment.
Yeah.
But let's say it follows
follows you.
right? What happens? Do you actually ever call this person?
I think I would call a paranormal investigator. I'd really do my research. I'd look it up on Yelp and everything. But I would mislead them. I would say something else was happening and then see if they picked up on any of the... So I'd bring them in under false pretenses.
How many times do you think they're brought in to be tricked
By
by skeptics?
probably fairly often, but I don't know because you're paying for them.
Are they expensive?
I'd imagine. I mean,
But like you gotta
I
imagine like
that they
the
prey
like,
on very desperate people.
Yeah, but like you gotta think there are like some James Randi types out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are like,
The Amazing Randy, you mean?
yeah, the Amazing Randy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got deep pockets.
Yeah. Well, because I don't think for a skeptic to pull one over on a paranormal investigator, I don't think is like really that
But then it's just more evidence for the file.
All right, then you put it in the file. But like, I fully believe, and that's why I'm saying that I would not give a paranormal investigator an iota of information about what's going on.
Right.
I'd be like, hey, you got all the equipment? You tell me what's going on.
Yeah, you got all these gadgets.
And I would go for one that had gadgets over like one who claims to have a psychic link.
I mean, that's your MO in anything.
And then
right?
I'd be
Who's
like,
your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Why?
Because he's got gadgets. And then I'd be like, how much would you let that spectrometer go for? And
you try to be like...
I try and, I'd be like, yeah, and then like maybe some of the gadgets to leave here just in case it happens when you're not here.
No, Tom. I just saw like a possible path your life could take.
What is it?
Buying this kind of stuff.
Buying ghost gadgets?
On eBay.
Yeah.
Like, just being like... Because, like, you buy a lot of gadgets now, Tom.
Yeah.
And I'll go to your apartment, and, like, there'll be, like, boxes. Just, like, you get like, 5 packages a day.
Yeah.
And you're always like, it's some gadget I heard about.
Yeah.
And, like, usually it winds up in the landfill that is the floor of your office, right?
Yeah. They're always cheap gadgets, though.
Yeah, but at some point, like... I really thought when you got like really into Scientology, I thought I was.
I didn't get really into.
No, you got really into like
learning about
Scientology. I thought I was going to come here, and I was excited to come to your apartment.
That I would have an e-meter.
Right.
Too expensive.
Really?
Yeah, very expensive. I looked into it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So like, I'm worried about you coming into a little bit of money and being able to buy all this stuff, and then like the stuff. Just by nature, by virtue of you having the stuff and having made an investment in the stuff,
it's gonna work.
Like it's just kind of like, well, I gotta believe this. I've sunk so much into this, and then like you're a crank. And then my biggest fear is that you have a very successful paranormal investigation business, and then suddenly you're less interested in doing this every week.
Yeah, all of a sudden I've got a bunch of cool ghost hunting friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I make like inside jokes with them at your expense, and you don't get the joke, but you know it's at your expense.
So many of them are like big Southern guys with like a flamboyant bent to them, right?
Oh yeah, like a cool hat.
Yeah,
that maybe has like some really cool gems on it.
Yeah. I'd be worried about inviting somebody with the potential of getting that sweaty into my house.
Yeah,
they seem like they're sweaters as a general.
Well, how do you think they get rid of the ghosts? The ghosts are like, oh god, it stinks in here. I gotta get out. Or a ghost goes to crack the window, and all of a sudden, whoa, sucked out.
All right. What else do you know about poltergeists? We gotta get back on track here.
Do you know about there's this whole phenomenon I was reading about that people who there are these apps you can get where they'll record you in your sleep.
No, I don't know about apps to record
Tim,
you.
Go on the App Store and look them up.
Sorry.
So there's apps that will record you in your sleep.
I like that you're spinning this as like, no, you're an App Store enthusiast, not
Tim.
a recording people while they sleep enthusiast.
You're not recording other people, Tim. This isn't a
spy
spy
these
cam
are just
situation.
For you. Yeah, of course.
So
that's the plausible deniability that I can get behind.
So you set up one of these apps, and I don't know if it records you the whole time. I guess it records you on like a delay maybe, and if it there's like a spike in noise, then it will be like, okay, start recording.
That would have to be it would be recording in the future.
No, because it's just always recording, but if it doesn't hear anything, it just dumps that.
Okay.
So it does that, and it's mostly meant for people who are
lunatics,
like sleepwalkers and stuff. And some people use them because they're like, oh yeah, I say funny stuff in my sleep, so then it records them saying funny stuff. But then some people are like, oh, I recorded this thing, and here's a conversation of me and a demon in the middle of the night. And
but
it's scary stuff, Tim. Super scary stuff. I don't think you could pay me enough to listen to or watch a video of me asleep.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll shop my collection elsewhere. I thought I could sell it to you directly. I guess I'll have to move on to the pervert community.
Look, Tim, I know you've invested a lot of time and money in this, but I'm just
now
not interested.
You tell me.
Because if like even the tiniest weird thing happened in a video or audio recording of me sleeping, I would just never sleep again.
Yeah. Tom, this is why...
Sleeping is when I'm most vulnerable.
This is kind of why I never want to get like any major surgery done. Because you watch America's Funniest Home Videos.
What?
And these days, half the videos are people coming out from like after like wisdom tooth or
Oh,
like
yeah. And
coming
it's
out of
like,
anesthesia.
yeah.
And they're just like, I'm Beyonce. I'm dancing like Beyonce right now.
Yeah.
I am Beyonce. And it's just like the shit that's hanging out in my subconscious. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody. Like, I don't want to know what that is. And I
Right.
don't want to, like.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to kill you all, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Killed them all, of course. And the burping. What was with the burping? Hold on.
Yes.
Oh, did you have something else to say? Or were you going to start wrapping up?
I wasn't. You talk. You say something.
I don't know. You had that face that looked like, all right. But I just wanted. You just seem to be, every time I ask you what's really all that scary or alarming about a poltergeist, you keep kind of pivoting to like, oh, but there are ghosts, or oh, but people have conversations with demons. Oh, but like Satan is real, or whatever you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, I want you to make the case that I should actually be fearful of a poltergeist.
I don't want to make the case, Tim. If you're not fearful of poltergeists, good for you. More power to you. Maybe
I'm
you
very
should.
brave.
You're very brave.
I know. Thank you, Tom.
Then maybe you should look into being a
Doesn't mean that much coming from a coward like you, but still. I mean, most people are brave compared to you.
Maybe you should look into being a paranormal investigator, Tim, and with this bravery of yours and this lack of fear of the paranormal.
Maybe.
There was this one case, one of these cases where all the cops all the bad things happened, where they said by the end of it there were 1,500 people outside the house on the lawn trying to catch a glimpse of this poltergeist. It
What?
created like Beatlemania, but for poltergeists.
Yeah, because people, we're sheeple, man. They hear something and they're like, something's going on in that house. Let's all go.
All right, so if you're so brave, I haven't even talked about 0 point energy, but we'll get to that. Maybe we'll do an episode about 0 point energy one day.
Not next week, because next week we're just going to talk about like TV or something.
What would it take for you to leave your home, paranormal speaking? Like what? And not obviously like, you know, if a demon came out of the floor and was like, I'm gonna eat you, yeah, you would do it. I'm saying like, what's the barrier to entry where Tim goes, all right, I'm out? Fires, just any kind of fires.
Like mysteriously.
So regular fires, you'll just go to bed.
No, but like that's not paranormal, right?
Right.
Like if it's electrical. But like in this video that you made me watch, like there were fires that were starting and extinguishing throughout the house.
Yeah, they're extinguishing.
But like I'm just like, well, that could catch a drape, and then boom,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah, this poltergeist doesn't know.
I don't like a space heater made me stop being your roommate, Tom.
Well, all right. So beyond fires, I'm saying like, what could you witness that would scare you so much that you'd be like, I don't care, I'm out of here.
It would have to be multiple sightings of an apparition, and
Yeah.
it would have to affect me in some way physically.
What do you mean?
Like-
Make you puke?
Our friend AJ
Yeah.
woke up,
Uh-huh.
and it's turned out to be like just a standard sleep paralysis thing.
Right.
But he claimed
Oh, yeah, that
a
was
ghost was
terrifying.
kneeling on his stomach and he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
That happened. Fool me once, right?
Uh-huh.
But if that happened multiple times, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
It has to be something that affects me phically.
Now, do you
more
have to
than
be able
one
to
time.
see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because otherwise it's just like, yeah, no, I'm I'm a crazy person.
What
Like,
if the
it's
bed-
anxiety or something.
What if the bed levitates?
Cool.
Well, you think it's
I'd pay
cool
good
now.
money for a levitating bed, Tom.
Well-
I paid a man. It turns out to be a real criminal. Made off with my money. Promised me a levitating bed.
Well, I'm not even going to ask you about a shaking bed because you probably have the same answer. So no amount of things being thrown at you by an invisible force.
No. Multiple times of physical contact, yes.
Okay. What if you just saw things levitating all the time?
Cool. I'd invite you over to look at it, and you'd be like, whoa, cool.
I wouldn't be like, whoa, cool. I'd be like, Tim, there's a poltergeist here.
But what's the end game there? What's there to be afraid of about something that levitates?
Because, Tim, that's mystical and unexplained. You're not afraid of the unexplained?
Not if it's not doing me any harm. I'm fascinated by it, Tom. Look, not everything is going to be...
I think I'd be startled by a lot. What if whenever you went into another room, there was something levitating? Like it was already like in the air, just like twirling around.
You know what?
What?
As with anything in life, you see it enough, it becomes routine.
And you don't wonder, like maybe that's an invisible man doing that?
All right, if it is, you know
You're
what?
not afraid of the invisible man?
I'm not really afraid of the invisible man, Tom.
Jeez, nobody's that brave.
Because is he going to kill you?
He could do whatever he wants. He's invisible.
But like you're saying poltergeists are not going to kill you, right? Because they haven't killed anybody.
Debatable.
Right, like...
I've gotten some new information since the podcast started.
A poltergeist is like as likely to kill me as like my slow cooker is to like catch on fire while I'm
not going to kill you.
When I'm asleep and like
it doesn't get hot enough.
Oh, it does, Tom. I was reading an article about slow. These are the things I'm worried about. Real life stuff.
Oh God, you're worried about the wrong things, Tim. You should be worried about ghosts.
If things are levitating, that's kind of cool. If I know, like, 99 times out of 100, it's just gonna be like a cool levitation thing. Cool, awesome. I love magic.
All right. Well,
that's why I invite David Blaine into my house all the time.
He's got a new special coming out. You know
just
that?
Kidding. He always tries to make out with my girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, he'd be able to pull it off too.
Oh, he's tried, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, he's tried.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgt.com.
He doesn't know how to pick up women, though. He's like, "You want to come live in a block of ice with me?"
No, that's not what he does.
My girlfriend's like, "No, I don't want to do that."
Yeah,
seems really cold.
It's like I'm already cold.
Yeah, I'm always cold. I'm a girl.
You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/complete guide.
Women, they're always cold, Tom. Is it cold in here? Yeah, it's always cold in here. That's right.
Oh, it might be a ghost or a poltergeist. You can follow us on Twitter @complete guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Tom Reynolds.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Your Pal Tim.
You can email us @completeguideeverything@gmail.com. And you can support us two ways. The fun way, which is not farting, tcgt.com/pledge, where you can support us on Patreon. You get a bunch of fun perks, such as a weekly mini episode. And this week, we're starting a new series.
Yes.
What's it called, Tim?
Should we reveal it?
Yes, reveal it.
The News. Starring Tim and Tom.
Where we're going to be talking about things in the news.
Yeah.
Every week.
You hear about this? You read about this? Is it in the news?
It's only on Patreon, tcgt.com/pledge. You can also support us the easy way, tcgt.com/Amazon. You can do your normal Amazon shopping, and we get a little bit of whatever you buy.
Yeah.
They send us a piece. It doesn't cost you an extra thing.
Buy chocolate.
I thought you were going to say buy chalk, because you love eating
I'd
chalk.
like to eat chalk one day. I aspire to. Edible chalk. Ooh.
They have that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you've told me about this.
Yeah.
Another thing that I should mention about Patreon, there are people watching us on the internet now, recording this. You can have that too.
Spooky.
Yeah. Just something.
We got our own poltergeist here.
Yeah. And guess what? I played the Monster Mash for them before on my phone.
Yeah.
And
I guess in trouble again with the Monster Mash people.
Dracula.
Any other... Any closing thoughts on Poltergeist, Tim?
Tom, I know I'm tempting fate here.
Yeah, Tim, you're inviting Poltergeist into your home.
But you know what? So be it. As long as it... Like, I'm afraid of a poltergeist in the movie Poltergeist.
Right.
Like that kind. But you're saying, like, that's all Hollywood fabrication.
That's all movie magic.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg wrote the story and co-wrote the screenplay for that.
Okay, there you go.
And executive produced it. And
Right.
many people said he and Craig T. Nelson co-directed that secretly. Yeah.
That'd
Not
be-
a lot of people know about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. He never teamed up with Craig T. Nelson again, huh?
No, I think he
He
directed every episode.
most of the episodes of Coach.
Imagine you went back and you were watching Coach at like 3 a.m. on WPIX, and it was like directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, that would be even scarier than seeing something levitate.
Exactly. That kind of stuff is way scarier.
All right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.